bonus session for our Raise More Funds module. Thank you so much for sticking with me throughout this whole module. I hope I gave you a ton of new information, things that you can act on in your ministry to help you reach your financial goals and hopefully even go beyond your financial goals, right? Because I want you to be successful in achieving your mission. So I just want to give you some bonus information. So I mentioned some different vendors that I've worked with personally that I trust. I want to give you some of their information because I know referrals. I'm always looking for referrals. If I'm looking for a new system, a new database, if I need to hire somebody, I always want to know how did other people work with them. Because there's like I've said before, there's been some people that I've hired in the past or companies I've hired past who haven't been that great. So I've been a little burned. So I'm always very cautious of this. So I want to give you some organizations I trust. The first one I want to talk about is Virtuous. I mentioned them. They're a new database company that we moved over to them about a year and a half ago. I've been really pleased with their with their system. It was been pretty easy to kind of migrate into their system. I actually wish I would have been using their system years ago because it would have helped me kind of developing some of my SOPs in our systems because they have these automations. They actually their database does a lot more than what I'm even using it for because I already had other systems in place. So you can check them out at virtuouscrm.com. Now, another thing you have to think about is if you do decide and when you decide to migrate database, and like I said, I've done this like 5 times. The big challenge is getting the data from your current database cleaned up and into a new database. And it's a huge, huge task. I actually just went through this about a month ago with all of our student data. And I kind of took on the responsibility internally to do it within the organization because I'm the one who's been with the organization the most. So I know the most names. And it was like 500,000 pieces of information. I did a lot of it on my own. And then I ended up hiring this company, Lincoln, I'm going to tell you about, because I had worked with them last year when we upgraded our donor database. So the company I recommend is Lincoln. Lincoln is a company that they basically work with a lot of tech people in Silicon Valley who are conservative. And so these are folks that work at Uber and Lyft and LinkedIn or whatever. And as their side hustle, they do data solutions for conservative leaning organizations because these are conservative folks. So Lincoln kind of identifies them, kind of protects them because then they don't have to go out and kind of out themselves, but then it allows them to keep their day job, but then they can also do these side hustles. So I worked with Lincoln to get all of our data from one database system into Virtuous, and it was a crazy process, and they did an amazing job. They just helped me actually with our student data as well. So Mike Iberkoff is the person I work with there. So I just actually put his email, and this is reminding me I need to tell him I did this. So if you email him, but if you guys have a data question, Lincoln can help you kind of brainstorm out data solutions. They actually helped us identify Virtuous. Part of our contract with them was they went out and looked at different databases. I met with them, told them this is what we have, this is what I don't like about, this is what I want to change with our donor database, this is how I want to be able to track our supporters and their giving and their history. And so then they came back and said, okay, here are your options, let's do demos. And they actually set that up for me, and they gave me their advice and their feedback. Okay, this is a system we really trust. It has a good security system, it has a good backup. And then Lincoln helped us migrate all of our data over, which was a process. I'm a little scarred by it. I talked about telemarketing fundraising. So telemarketing fundraising can be very expensive. I really try to work with vendors who I trust, who I know support what I do, because if not, for example, we've been talking about data. I had to know that I was going with a company that truly cared about my mission, and wasn't going to just take my money and run with it, or even like worse, take my data and give it to Planned Parenthood or an organization that really doing the opposite of what I'm trying to do. That are really the villains in my narrative. So MDS is great. They do telemarketing. We've been working with them since 2007. They were the first kind of vendor that I ever signed on and started working with. They do telemarketing. Their founder, Jay Mount, was the development director for a Right to Life group. and then started this company. So his wife, Lori, is listed here. I, once again, didn't tell her I put her information here, so I need to do that. But if you're interested in exploring telemarketing and hiring a company to do those phone calls for you, as opposed to you running the telethon, internally, they do prospecting and house file phone banking. So you should talk to them. Brendan, who you've met at the masterclass and you've seen on the panels, he's a vice president over at Cornerstone Payment Systems. So they do the back end payment process and kind of the banking for nonprofits who are doing online fundraising, and they have the best rates. If you find a better percentage rate, they'll meet it, they'll match it. So they do a really great job, and they're building a bunch of new solutions because one of the challenges right now is some ministries who fundraise, the payment processors are refusing to process payments for them because of one of their stances, their conservative or Christian stances, and so it's becoming a problem. Because if we can't process the credit card donations coming into us as nonprofits, then how are we going to get those funds? And so Cornerstone's actually been working on that and be unveiling something, I think, in the coming months. WebConnects. WebConnects is the landing page system I use. So all of our donation pages, when I send out a fundraising email or on my website, those pages go into what's called WebConnects. And I can build them out myself. It's pretty easy to learn how to build a system yourself, which that's kind of the key in a lot of nonprofit fundraising is, can you do it yourself? And they also do event registration, conference registration. They have different modules. I think the one I pay for, it's $69 a month, and you can go in, you can customize and put pictures, colors, whatever. I hired developers to make them even more attractive looking, and then all you do is you connect the Cornerstone payment ID key, it's some long code, and you just put it on the back end, and then it's done. And then it's WebConnects is the front, and then the payment processor, because Cornerstone in the back. That's what I do. Ministry Ventures, I talked about them already in the strategy and how to maximize your success. But this is, once again, I just want to put this again out there. If you're looking for kind of the soup to nuts kind of training of how to launch a nonprofit, you need help with setting up your board or HR, they've got trainings for you. So I put their contact information there for you. Books to review. So I have some books in here. So Artful Journey is kind of just warning, when you get it on Amazon, it's not in print anymore. So I have a hardcover copy that doesn't even have a jacket on it. Other team members have ratty copies because I was too cheap to pay the $80 someone one. I think I saw one the other day, it was $45, but it's not in print. It's a fantastic book. Walks you through the process of major gift fundraising. And so we actually did a whole book study on our team. So every week we were reading chapters and then discussing them. And walks you through this journey of developing a relationship, cultivating a relationship with a major gift prospect, with a donor, tracking that relationship, making the ask, stewarding them, making sure they know that their gift is making an impact, and then renewing and upgrading them. Gerald Panis, he is the king. He recently, I think he passed away just about a year or two ago, but he is a king at major gift fundraising. So he wrote a couple of books. This book is super simple. You can read it in a couple hours. It's called Asking. Actually it says you can read it in 59 minutes. I think it took me longer, but a 59-minute guide to everything board members, volunteers, and staff need to know to secure the gift. One thing I was not able to get into in this module that I really wanted to. This is why I've got to do my own just major gift module is that meeting. You gotta get the meeting, and then what do you do at that major gift meeting? How do you lead the conversation? How do you listen your way to the gift? Not talk your way to the gift. Listen your way to the gift. So this is a really good book. It talks about how to make the ask, how to set up the ask, how to be direct in the ask, not giving, for example, ranges. If you give a supporter a range of, could you give between $50,000 and $100,000? What do you think the supporter is going to do? They're going to give you 50. You shouldn't have. Don't give a range, right? Give a specific amount. So there's a lot of good tips in there. I've actually read it multiple times, just if I'm kind of nervous about a meeting, I'll read it just to give myself some confidence. And it is very quick. So you can read it, like I read it on the plane ride to the meeting. Fund your cause of direct mail, secrets of direct mail fundraising. This is great because it goes through all of the minutia of setting up your own direct mail program. And if you're a smaller group and you're just getting started, you're going to need to do the direct mail internally, meaning you're going to have to write it. You're going to have to write the reply device, the little reply card, the 1/3 sheet. You're going to have to set up a BRE account. You're going to have to get the letters printed. You should hand sign them, get someone to hand address them. You're going to have to get them stuffed. You're going to have to get them in the door. And so there's a lot of just process things, but then there's also technique, right? How do you write an appealing letter, a letter that has a good hook, that has a sense of urgency, that people say, yes, of all the letters I got in the mail today, this is the one I want to support. And so there is art and there's science to this. So direct and funding your cause of direct mail is a good way to get started. So I hope these resources are helpful to you. Make sure you let me know you guys have questions or comments. I'd love to hear what you thought about this module, where I could have done a better job of explaining something, where you need some more information, maybe more clarity, and definitely let me know if there's something you want to see me expand upon. We're working on kind of additional modules, additional trainings we can build. And like I said, I've already kind of written the Major Gift 1, which is why I want to talk about so much. I have so much to talk about. But there's other modules we definitely are thinking about creating for you all. But I want to know from you what would be the most beneficial for you and your organization. So thanks for sticking with me from all of this. And I pray that it is revolutionary for your organization.